Thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com, the definitive home for technical analysis online. Our passion is understanding the market and identifying trade opportunities. Our goal is to share our success with others through consultation, training videos, and educational course materials. Get the skills that will make you a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join us today for access to daily analysis and live market coverage, a thriving community of over 1,000 active members, and hours of exclusive educational content. Come for the education, stay for the community.
Checking in on the markets, we'll start it off with SPY. So we finally broke that higher low every single day pattern after 7 days in a row, but the bear action literally lasted 15 minutes to start the day. There's your pullback, V-shaped recovery, new high of the day, and then a bull run into the end of the day, marked by increasing bull volume, highest prices in 2019, highest close of 2019, and one step closer to that all-time high, which at this point is less than $5 away. So the next resistance, 288.86, is pretty much where we stand right now. And then we're looking up at that all-time high as the next level. So very little pullback. Very healthy continuation for the bulls. 4-hour higher lows, pretty clear. Exponential 12 period of support has been a bit of a good guide as we bounced off of this area on these periods of consolidation. And we'll see if the bulls can keep it up. One thing that I am watching is the RSI on the daily, just because in 2019, the bulls have had trouble at this 70 level. We have rejected time and time and time again, and here we are right at that point right now. So we would have to go over 70 clearly if we were going to get that all-time high without having to pull back a little bit. IWM, pretty much a double top, 157.47 and 157.50. But again, just very brief consolidation and no red flags whatsoever for the bulls with where we stand. And even when we do consolidate, we know the vast majority of these individual names are going to be looking to form daily higher lows. QQQ had a much more significant pullback. I mean, not by much, but just a couple days ago. Higher low on the daily, 182.65. Little pullback today, kept that level, and we're onward to higher highs. And looking at the next resistance from where we currently stand, all-time high, 187.53. That's $2.40 from where we stand. That's about 1.5%. XLF, very brief consolidation. When you break support and do not get follow through, you zoom out and look for the potential of a flag. So we had the hourly uptrend break and no follow through. So this is a potential daily bull flag. We're heading towards earnings next week. We've got 2670 as a resistance level to be watching short term, and then right back up to 2710, the recent top on this big old V-shaped recovery. Biotech sector today, big lower wick. Anything above 90.95 is a daily higher low. Pretty much a double bottom the last 2 days. I did play LABU. Look at the 5-minute RSI. First thing this morning after the first 10 minutes, I entered LABU on this dump. Because the 5-minute RSI was down in the teens right away to start the day, got some solid follow through. I exited in the first little portion of this bounce, knowing I was playing against the trend and just wanting to lock in a quick little day maker, but significant follow through for those bulls. And where we stand is healthy consolidation after the bull break. So bull break was yesterday. Now we're back testing and still keeping control, keeping the 4-hour uptrend. And we'll see if the bulls are able to break short-term resistance, 93.87, to look for continuation. The VIX here is still weak. Daily bounces are just giving us lower highs. So we're looking back down in the $12 range. And if we lose these 12s, we're looking back down in the 10s and 11s, where that base in the summer of 2016 was formed. Oil is a raging bull, helping with the market strength as well. Bull flag on the daily confirmed with huge follow through. New daily higher low is 61.79, and there's no resistance up at these levels, as we know. The bulls easily making their way back up. Here on the daily, this is where we pulled back from. This is where we stand now. So getting towards some previous price at levels of resistance. And you can see, look at all this support. So this is previous support and now resistance. Let's see if oil has a bit of trouble here this week. Seeing a lot of price action, 64s, and this is just standing out to me now for the first time. And we are right at those levels. So potential that we may need to consolidate a little bit at those levels. We have the inventory report coming up in a couple days, and the RSI levels are getting very overextended. 4-hour is up at upper 70s, and the daily upper 70s as well. Natural gas key resistance test right now, 272. If that level breaks, the daily lower highs break. We're going to be looking for a 4-hour trend change to indicate Actually, I want to see a daily trend change. So breaking the daily lower highs will be the first indication that our weekly higher low and weekly equilibrium is set. So the low of 257.1, the high of 2894, and looking for the higher low at 2624. But we need a bit more follow through for that to be the case. But it does look like we are going to get a nice weekly equilibrium, at least for another week or two, as things continue to tighten up. So the bottom line is, bulls have it easy. And fighting this trend is suicide at this point. We know we'll pull back, but there's no reason to have to nail the top. I've even given up hedging. You know, I was talking about hedging my parents' long-term portfolio on this way up and took a couple small losses when we saw continuation, and their portfolio is just fine. They don't need me hedging it at this point. If we see huge bear volume, it will be noteworthy, but we're not going to see any kind of huge pullback for the bears without huge bear volume. Look at what happened from the all-time high. What stood out? Volume. So if we don't see bear volume, bulls have nothing to worry about. Pretty much is as simple as you can make it. And after strong closes 3 days in a row, we'll see if the bulls can keep it up. Hope you have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. So for this week, we're going to wrap it up with some more pictures and adventure time, but then we're going to get back to some real life stuff. I'm going to be moving into a short-term place while I continue scouting to buy a mini farm, but going to be growing a whole bunch of stuff, so I'll record some stuff about growing stuff and the nice springtime stuff. So here we got Florida. If you're going to camp in Florida, do it in the winter or the early spring or the late fall. This trip was in the winter and it was great. They got boardwalks going through the swamp area. It's a different world. It's like Jurassic Park. But if you do it in the summer, it was the worst experience I've ever had camping. I had to cut the trip early and go home with my tail between my legs because literally you get to where you're going, you hike around a bit, you're dripping sweat. The mosquitoes are unbearable the entire time. Anywhere in the shade is all mosquitoes. I would literally have to crawl into my tent at about 3 p.m., naked, dripping sweat, and you could hear the audible buzz of the mosquitoes around the mesh, and I could put my hand to the mesh and literally see a swarm come to where my hand was. So literally you're imprisoned, and there's no way to stay cool. It was just miserable. So, swampy trees, nice big ferns, and you really get to appreciate how well life is at growing, especially when it's in very wet, very hot conditions with the hanging moss everywhere. And all of these trees' branches have just little micro environments all throughout them of tons of stuff growing on them. Those clouds definitely soaked me and let me know that my tent was no longer waterproof. Had that little note on my Facebook post for this picture. But about what was I going to say? I don't know. Something. Great place to camp. Big trees, lots of green. Just do it in the winter. That's a really cool picture. And all that is just moss and grass and plants growing. The leaves just decay and create little soil on top of the branches. And life goes wild. I was going to say, when you're a farmer, you really get to appreciate how good life is at growing as well. With weeds and what these plants can do, you can uproot a weed and toss it to the side, and its roots are going to go right back into the ground, and it's going to stay alive. And it's just, life is pretty incredible with how well it can adapt and survive. So I know that when humans are long gone, life will continue to thrive on Earth. Life's not going anywhere. Humans probably will, but that's a ways away. So I appreciate you watching, and I think I go to Costa Rica next. I forget the last time I went over Costa Rica. I think it was fairly recent. We'll see. I'll dig something else up to talk about, and I hope you have a good day.